up to this point, we've talked about what codependency is, and we've kind of given you some ideas. I want to do a little bit of comparison here so you can kind of get an idea of what codependency is and what recovery looks like. And when we're willing to start healing these feelings and the pain and the events of our past, that's called recovery. And you will start becoming more familiar with that jargon that's both in the 12-step program and in counseling and any self-help that you might do. And the word recovery is going to be hopefully a part of the major part of your life. And what we know about recovery is it's worth it, and it's hard. And you can be afraid and brave at the same time. And you can choose to be comfortable or to be courageous, or both. And that's going to require vulnerability. And no one likes vulnerability because it's quite the risk, because you then have to trust someone. And hopefully at this point, we've created some level of safety for you so you can go forward, because vulnerability is the birthplace of connection and love and courage. And so one of the things that I'm going to encourage you to do is, remember you wrote a permission slip for your child if they missed school? I want you to actually do that for yourself. Write this down. I give myself permission to be vulnerable. I give myself permission to start dealing with these uncomfortable feelings. I give myself permission to be courageous at the same time that I'm scared to death. And when we do that, we recognize that we own our story. The story has happened for us already, and we are the narrators of that story, and we get to change the ending. And so even though the past has occurred for you, you are in charge. And in order to get something different, you got to do something different, which is what you've been doing. Okay, so let me explain a little bit the difference between what a codependent relationship looks like and what a recovery relationship looks like. And some of the nuances that the recovery field will explain is codependence is your human doing. You are afraid to ask. You demand proof for something because you can't believe someone would do that. Or you may compulsively caretake, or your emotions are on overload. And it's tough for you to know what normal is. Recovery, on the other hand, is you become a human being and you allow yourself to make those mistakes. That trying is always enough, and that we can be emotionally available to ourselves, and we can attach to those people that we want to. And in fact, what will happen is those people that you admire, that have what you have or what you want, you will start having that, and people will start being attracted to you. So the typical joke that someone says in our field anyway is, if you're about to die, that you're going to see somebody else's life pass in front of you instead of your own. And we want to change that for you. We want you to own your life. So I want to share a few more things with you to help you really solidify the difference between codependence and recovery. And codependent behavior is, I have difficulty identifying what I'm feeling. And in recovery, because you're willing to do this vulnerable work, you will become more aware of your feelings, and you'll be able to identify them and be in the moment. Another example is, I value other people's approval for my thinking, my feeling, and my behavior. And in recovery, you will have confidence in yourself. You will no longer seek other people's approval, and you'll be okay with the decisions that you're making. Another example is, in codependent behavior, that I'm going to put my interests, my desires, and my wants on hold. They're not as important. Other people's opinions and desires and wants are more important. In the recovery portion, once you start working on this, you will consider your own interests, and you will ask to participate in other people's plans, or you'll seek out that which you want to do to bring you pleasure. That doesn't mean that you're not going to still be kind and empathetic and want to do things for others. You'll just do it because you want to, not because you feel obligated. And then another example is, in a codependent relationship, I'm going to freely offer my advice and my direction to someone else when they're not even asking for it. And in recovery, the way that would be look is I'm a compassionate, empathetic person, and I'm a good listener. That's how the shift changes from codependence to recovery. So how do I do that? There are a couple things that occur that are resources for you. The 12-step program, for one, is wonderful. So there is a Codependence Anonymous program, and there is an inventory that you can either download on this program, or you can go to Codependence Anonymous, and it'll give you, do I overcommit myself? Do I feel like my emotions aren't as important as others? And there's a checklist if you feel like you're not sure if you are or not. So there's that. There's also promises that come with this program as well. And those promises are, I am free to be who I'm going to be, and things will just occur for me that I never knew would happen before, that I'm just drawn to those healthy things and those healthy behaviors. Those are all on that website. And I'll also have them posted here for you as well. I want you to think about the 3 C's. And that is, I can't control someone else's behavior. I cannot cure their problem, and I cannot control it. So I can't cause it, I didn't cause it, I can't cure it, and I can't control it. So what that means is, I did not make this happen to other people. I had no control over if my dad was addicted, or if my brother has a mental health issue, or what my son or daughter is participating in. I also can't cure it. I'm not a doctor. I'm not that powerful. They are really the ones that need to take that into their own hands and take care of it themselves. And I can't control any of this. I have to allow them to make their own mistakes and learn from that. I can be empathetic and give them the tools, which leads me to the last 4, which when we engage into recovery, we can take care of ourselves, we can communicate our feelings the way they're accurate for us. We do have choices, and I can celebrate myself. So the 3 C's are, I didn't cause it, I can't cure it, and I can't control it. But what I can do is communicate how I feel, take care of myself, know that I have choices, and celebrate those things and not blame. You are not alone. You can do this. I'm going to give you a few more suggestions that might help you along the way. So continue to learn. Do those things that you enjoy. For me, I love a cup of tea. I love to get a pedicure. And when I'm really struggling, because my emotions can get the best of me, I know those 2 things will help. Calling people that are safe for me to, identifying my feelings, breathe. Sometimes remember at the bottom of the hierarchy of needs is we forget to breathe. We need oxygen. And when we open up our chest and take deep breaths, we become present in the moment. Talk to safe people. Don't just talk to anybody, because not all people are safe. And it's not that they don't need to be. It's just they're not if they don't and haven't learned the things that you're learning now. And ask for what you need. Okay, I'm going to give you one more acronym that might be really helpful for you, and that's called HALT. So remember, HALT. H is for hungry. So if you're hungry, you're not going to think straight, and we just can't, because the hormones in us need to be fed, and we get this tunnel vision. So even if you keep nuts or something with protein and get something into you, you will feel better if you even just curb that craving or fill that void in your stomach. So make sure you're not hungry. The A is for angry. Figure out, how come I'm angry? What just happened? And kind of go backtrack and go, oh, so-and-so just said something to me and it upset me. Okay, well, let's replace it with the truth and use some of the skills that you'll learn with this to deal with the anger. L is for lonely. And so if I'm lonely, pick up the phone, pray, call a friend, talk out your emotions. And finally, T is for tired. If you're tired, you're not going to be effective. So go get some rest. Even if it's impossible to take the time to rest, kind of go into your mini vacation and think about the most beautiful place on earth or something that's going to make you feel better. There's a beach in Maine that brings that together and real for me. And all I have to do is think about that and I will just smile and it will refresh me and keep me going. And then there's two other words that are part of the HALT that aren't there. And that is oxygen, remembering we have to breathe, and go to the bathroom. I think for women, sometimes we forget because we're caretakers and we forget we've got to go to the bathroom. So take the time and take care of your needs. So I hope that helps. This is tough work. You're going to have to take really good care of yourself. There is a U-shaped process of what happens when how we get into this behavior of codependency and how we avoid our feelings and how we feel like we want to control. And when we finally make that decision that I'm miserable enough and I'm going to make those steps, then we can start on this uphill climb into recovery. So keep watching, keep listening, and let's take care of your needs and know that it's okay for you to ask for help.